sorry now that I'm a little late. I apologize that you had to wait. It totally slipped my mind. I lost all my sense of time. So buy me that drink and just let me think, and I'll tell you the reasons why. My alibi.
Hello and welcome to the very first episode of Alibi the podcast, an initiative started by Gagasan Mahasiswa Undang Sabah. GUN. I'm your host, Joffrey. Joining me today are Dylan, Elaine, Natalyn, and Brenda. Today, we're going to be answering the question, can law school make you depressed? Before that, let's get to know our guest for today. Starting with Dylan. Tell us one fact about yourself that no one knows.
Hey everyone, my name is Dylan Dumpangong and I am 23 years old, currently a bar LLM student at Northumbria University. As for the fact, I guess you could say I'm a big fan of kan long mian. I love to eat kan long mian any time of the day, and I think I can eat that for breakfast anytime.
Oh,
That's what my fact.
I love kan long mian too, man.
Oh man, it's so good.
All right, so moving on to the next guest, Elaine.
Okay, hi guys, I'm Elaine. I'm currently studying the University of London program at BAC, and I'm going into my final year this coming September. So, one fact about myself that no one knows is I wouldn't say I'm afraid of the dark, but I'm someone who is comfortable with sleeping with lights on. Like, I can sleep with the lights fully on, and I actually did for a really long period of time.
What about you?
So I'm Natalyn. People that I know call me Nat. I'm actually in the same bar course as Dylan, and we're both from Northumbria.
Hey,
Yay! A fun fact, I would say that most of the time people know me for just lazing around doing nothing, and I can do that for hours. I think one thing is I really love to collect soap, like any sort of bar soaps. I think any unusual looking soaps I just love them so much. I am obsessed. I have like a collection. I think for now
wow.
I have about like
Wow.
26.
I'm
Yeah.
sure you smell nice
That's a
all the
lot.
time.
Do you use these like soap bars?
Oh no, they're purely just for me to look at them. I just love looking at them.
Okay.
So you don't
Yeah.
use
That's
them
like-
when you shower?
No. I don't think these are the kind where you can actually use in the shower. So it's more just for keepsake.
Well, moving on to our next guest, Brenda. What about you?
Okay, hi everyone. I'm Brenda, and I'm currently in my third year, my final year in Taylor's University. Actually, I have several interesting facts about myself, but if I were to pick one, which is probably something that nobody really knows, not even my friends, I think it would be musical theatre. I'm actually into musical theatre, and ever since I was young, I was in a few school plays, I can say. A few school plays,
Wow.
musicals, yeah. And then when I was in Form 4, I was also in a musical. That was like my last.
That's very, very cool.
And wow,
Yeah,
Brenda.
I actually enjoy it.
So
Yeah.
honored to
Yeah.
know.
It was something that I really love to do, yeah, on stage.
Wow, that sounds fun.
Right. So, with that being said, I guess that just leaves me. So, okay, guys, I am Joffrey. I am a second year student currently studying my law LLB at Help University. And one random fact about me is, I think some of you guys know this. I'm a big comic book buff. I love all things about comics, Marvel, DC, any kind of comics. I am a huge buff for that. So I think that's it with the ice breaking. Time to dive right into the main topic for today. So, depression. it's a topic that is often overlooked in most conservative Asian households as just like a feeling of being sad. The textbook definition for depression is a common and serious medical illness that negatively affects how you feel, the way you think, and how you act. Although it is true, depression causes feelings of sadness and a loss of interest in activities you once enjoyed, it can lead to a variety of emotional and physical problems and decrease your ability to function at work and at home. Personally, I have had encounters with depression throughout my life, every now and then, especially this year with the pandemic, my studies, loss of loved ones, broken relationships, and lack of social interaction. The shadow of depression was beginning to just eat me up. Fortunately enough, my family was more progressive than most conservative Asian households by being very understanding, and they knew the importance of maintaining good mental health. That being said, going back to the conservative treatment of most Asian households, have you guys ever experienced anyone belittling your mental health problems in be it your households or even by your friends? Because I know for a fact that I have had people telling me that, oh, kids in Africa are starving to death and you're here worrying about being sad or just saying like just be happy. Have you guys ever experienced
Yeah.
any form of that?
Hmm.
Uh yeah, Dylan, do you have
Yeah, I mean, definitely, and especially like in an Asian household, like I have loads of family members and friends who belittle this mental health and depression in general. I think an example would be like, you're saying like I'm really stressed for an exam, or I don't really feel good today, and their response would be something like, ah, nothing like that. Just get over it, lah. Be a man, and that toxic masculinity as well. That comes into play. But yeah, there's a lot of stigma surrounding mental health being mental health and depression being something like just equivalent to being sad or like being a momentarily angry. And I think a lot of Asian households, and I mean people here in general, don't understand the actual implications of these things.
Yeah. I just to add on to that, like being a man and having people say that those kind of things, right? I have experienced that too, in a sense, like
Yeah.
I like okay, I'm just gonna be personal and just say that at the end of my past relationship, I kind of reached out to a few aunties lah, telling them about it, telling that I'm feeling sad and all that. And what they said to me was like, "Oh, you can feel sad now, but you have to move on soon because you're a man. You're not supposed to talk about feelings in general,
Yeah.
right?"
That's really bad, like toxic masculinity, and just
Yeah,
sucks.
that's really sad. I feel that if I feel that we should do away with that kind of mindset.
It's
Yeah, for sure.
it's difficult, even now in this climate, even though we've progressed so far as a society, that we still have pretty archaic mindsets on what the roles of women and men are supposed to be, unfortunately.
Hmm.
Yeah. I mean, we're all humans. There's nothing wrong with just feeling, their emotions, they're all natural. And yeah, it's all normal.
But have you experienced that personally, Elaine?
For me, yeah, I've definitely seen a negative stigma like tied to mental health issues when it comes to my own family and friends. Lah. So almost the same case as Dylan's. And yeah, you always hear the typical comments such as someone else has it worse or your problems aren't even that bad. And these are not helpful at all. And they can actually be very hurtful when you reach out to someone you trust and this is the feedback that you get. And I know some people even call them weak, which I don't agree at all because, like I said, they're just emotions.
Feeling ever, because you built up so much pain to like voice out, but in return you get like them striking it down. I feel like that's really unfair.
So, what about Nathalie, have you experienced this?
Personally, can't say that I myself have experienced it, but I'm not gonna go out here and self-diagnose. It might not be depression, probably like mild episodes of downturns when you just feel really low. And I can say that sometimes I'm feeling low because of law school. And it's just that the pressure, like Dylan and Elaine said about how we put this outward, how do I say this, like this outward thing where we have to look perfect or okay. And sometimes I find it really hard when people know me as the jovial happy person to have them doubt why I'm so sad. I don't know. Yeah, so that's it. But fortunately, for me, I've had my both of my parents are really understanding. They've even said so far as to tell me that if anything were to be like if anything was going on in my life, that I could definitely seek help, and they I could go see a psychiatrist or anyone for it. And I hope that everyone can have the opportunity to at least see someone to talk about what their feelings are, because it's validated, their feelings.
Mm,
Yeah.
for sure. I feel like we're very fortunate to have parents that are like progressive
Oh,
thinkers.
definitely.
They, they're accepting to these kind of things. But unfortunately, most Asian households are conservative, and they don't really like. For them, depression is just another form of saying you're sad.
Yeah, it's just a
Yeah.
phase.
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
exactly. That really has to, you know, that sort of
And
mentality.
yeah, I feel like it's heightened, especially during the lockdown. We're all cooped up at home. Some of us are exposed to like toxic environments, maybe. So, those
Yeah.
definitely doesn't help.
Yeah, it's true. Like when you're in university, like when you're living alone, like you can actually go out to friends who are there with you, your housemates or whoever. And I think they're in our age group, so like they'd be more understanding. But when people are stuck now, I mean, just in my opinion, like especially with like in an Asian conservative household, you do feel more pressurized in a container. That kind of feeling, like you can't even vent out unless you contact somebody else, but even then it's not a face-to-face thing.
Do you guys think as well that people are not ignorant about it, but more so they're somehow in denial? I'm not so sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like in denial, but
Yeah, definitely.
people need help, regardless of what kind of person you are.
What about Brenda? Do you have anything to add on to this?
Yeah, personally, when I was younger, I was quite a troubled teenager growing up as well. Like on the outside, I would always appear to be smiling, to be happy, so that no one around me would be very worried. But then, whenever I come home from school, or just generally whenever I'm at home, I would always kind of like be frustrated with myself. Always be very very frustrated, be on edge a lot of the time. And then sometimes when I try to tell my parents about my personal problems, they would also dismiss these concerns. So I resonate with the view that most conservative Asian households, they kind of just dismiss the issue of depression like that. Like they'll usually say things like, "Oh yeah, other people have it worse than you, so your problems are not too big of a deal. You just have to move on. You can't stay like that forever." Or they will also say things like, "Don't get so easily affected by what others think or say about you, because it's not that hard to ignore it." But then for us, of course, I can say that for all of us young people, that's not really true. I mean, like even though we're all young, that doesn't mean that we have it all together. That we have our own problems and issues. And sometimes I think most of the older generations, they tend to think that because we have everything, compared to them back then, when they didn't really grow up with everything. But we have it also. They think that we should not feel sad. We should not even feel down. We should not even have negative feelings about anything when that
Yeah.
is so far from the truth, you know?
Mm.
Exactly. I can resonate with that.
Yeah,
But
I
I
think
think
that's true as
it,
well because, like, you know, with what Brenda said, like, a lot of older people, like, they say, "Oh, our feelings are shouldn't be validated because we live an easier life." But I feel like in this generation, we have a totally different set of problems in itself. Like, especially, I mean, for example, like the pandemic, like, you know, this is like a completely different ballpark. Like, there's so many problems in like studying and like just living day to day life. I feel like, you know, we can't compare other problems with the problems of today because, you know, in regardless of that, they're both problems, you know.
true.
Yeah,
Like
that's true.
okay, for example, like with me, second year law student, I haven't even I have never set foot on my university before. I
Oh.
basically have like a
Oh, are really?
zero.
Are you
Yeah,
serious? Oh,
serious, dead
OMG.
serious.
And how do you
So
feel
like
about that?
I think like basically the studies are okay. It's easier because it's online. It's
Mm-hmm.
the exams are easier, but my social life is basically down the drain.
Uh,
And
Yeah.
yeah,
Mm.
I think for me I can cope because I have friends here, but thinking of the people that their friends are away and they have zero social life right now and they have to stay at home, and that's pretty that can lead up to depression, right?
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, sometimes even when we have like technology to communicate with our friends, I kind of miss the intimacy you have, like that warmth, or
Yeah.
when you see your friends at the cafeteria in university. I'm so sad that some people may not even have the chance to ever
Like,
have
yeah,
that feeling because I'm stuck in the pandemic.
Yeah, I guess like with the uncertainty and all,
Yeah.
we just have to embrace it in a way.
Yeah.
yeah.
The new norm.
Okay, so I was reading an article by Will Paisley, a graduate from UC Hastings, College of Law, California, about resisting adverse psychological effects of law school. And it states that lawyers are among the most depressed and distressed professionals. Like, I quote, the law school environment trains students to maintain lives that promote depression and anxiety. With in Stemming's The Tide of Law Student Depression, Todd and Elizabeth Peterson explained why law students are excessively anxious, stressed, and depressed, stating that 44% of law students have clinically elevated levels of distress. Levels of
Mm.
substance abuse among law students tend to be significantly higher than the general population. Now, this pattern continues past graduation, with 70% of lawyers developing alcohol problems at some point in their lifetimes. So the billion-dollar question here is, do you think law school is depressing? Dylan, what are your thoughts on this?
Wow, that's a very big and bold statement. But I do think with any course, there's an element of depression. But okay, let's talk back to law school. So I can talk about my own experience, like especially like me and Natalie, when we went through the bar course, and I do feel like I faced a lot of depression and anxiety. Like those levels really shoot up like during this whole course. Like for example, like you know, we have advocacy classes during our bar course, and I get so nervous and I get like sweaty palms and I really get agitated before, and it affects like how I work like day to day. Like I can imagine like going downstairs to get like food and stuff like that, and I'd feel like really off, like I'm not even there, and I feel like I'm stuck thinking about that advocacy session that will come, and I keep on thinking about that, you know, and like it just keeps me really suppressed from everything else. Yeah, that's one of the examples I feel like, you know, with law school being depressing for me.
Mm. What do you think, students can do to overcome that kind of depression? that you're facing?
I think definitely to take time off. Like, I know it's easier said than done. Like, you take time off, but if you actually really learn to take time off, as in completely shut yourself from law school, just like play games or go do sports or like, eat your favorite food. Like, I feel like those things can get you temporarily off. But in terms of actual depression, depression isn't a temporary feeling. Like, that's sadness, but with depression, it's something you have to treat. I feel like going to friends or an actual psychiatrist, I think those things will really help you.
Okay, so Elaine, do you think law school makes you depressed?
So, well, okay, I would phrase the question as, is law school depressing for me? Short answer, it can be, but not necessarily at the same time. And yeah, like Dylan said, I feel like it's the same with any other degrees. So there's always like a constant pressure, to perform well academically. At the same time, you're kind of expected to be active in other activities such as, okay, since we're talking about law school, right? So activities such as mooting or debating or other societies that could potentially help you in your future law career. And honestly, like all of this just sounds like a recipe for like a really great big burnout. Because and like on top of that pressure, right, there's also pressure from your family and friends, and everyone's like, oh, my son, my daughter, my niece, my nephew, my grandson is a lawyer. And everyone's like, and
Oh
I'm just like,
yeah.
whoa, chill, I'm still doing my degree, I don't know anything. I can
I
do
know,
research
right?
and write essays, that's all I know.
You're
Yeah,
asking.
so
You're always asking for free law
exactly.
advice.
Yeah. Can you
Yes,
bail
Exactly.
my
for free
friend out
legal
of
advice.
jail?
Bail you
Yeah.
out.
Like the thing is, I can put
Yes.
you in jail, I can't get you out, you know. So yeah, I mean, like obviously there's also the assignments, the exams, the deadlines to keep up with, which yeah can be stressful and is quite a huge contribution, to depression. For my personal experience in, I would say, online law school, it hasn't been the best either, because I'm someone who thrives off academic validation, which please don't do that. It's not worth it. So it does take a huge mental toll on me, because the academic stress really gets to me very easily. And yeah, especially now we're all also cooped up at home, and we can't have like a normal university life to balance that out. So yeah, it gets quite rough, because yeah, I don't deal well with exam stress.
What about you, Natalie? What do you think?
I say, like everything Elaine said just now, I totally agree, and that's basically where my points about why law school is depressing. Um, to me anyway, it's the pressure as well to complete law school. Have you guys ever had that sort of thing where people say, "Wow, law school." It's a good thing really that you're
Yeah.
in law school, trying to become a lawyer and whatnot, getting your law degree. But I feel like just that alone puts pressure on students.
Yeah.
We have this pressure where we have to we have to come out with our first class degree, second class degrees, and then like Elaine said, on top of that, we have to make sure, maybe we're compelled to go for mooting, debating, volunteer work. There are so many things, and I don't know if just one student alone, just that simple person, can get a hang of it. There's so many things you have to do in order to become an outstanding student.
Mhm.
There's this pressure to be better than everyone else.
Yeah.
um yeah, there's just that pressure, and I feel like with that pressure comes your declining self-esteem as well. You're basically comparing yourself to everyone around
Yeah.
you, and it's
Yeah.
just it's just really hard. Even for me, I may as well tell everyone that, oh no, I don't feel anything. Oh, I just passed my exams or whatever. But inside, I'm dying. I'm like, oh my god, what if I don't pass? Oh my god, how am I going to do this? And all these sort of things are a factor to how it can potentially um decline your mental health. Well, to me anyway. Yeah.
I
Okay,
really
so
agree with that. Like, you know how many people here started off the first year super pumped, like, okay, I'm gonna go through this, I'm gonna get first class and stuff. And by your second and third year, you feel like, okay, I just want to pass. Like, how
Yeah.
many of you guys feel that way?
Yeah.
For sure. It was
I'm just
Oh
gonna
yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
definitely.
I'm just
I
gonna
think,
be dead
yeah,
honest. That was me during my first semester.
Yeah, that's me right now.
I feel like that is a product of being depressed and all those suppressed feelings. Like, your body can't take it anymore. So, like,
Yeah.
you don't feel motivated. And yeah, depression is lack of motivation as well.
Yeah, true. I just feel like I don't know. In most universities, so far in Malaysia, when I was in when I did my UKT in BAC,
Hmm.
students, we don't really have that sort of community where we can voice out these issues that we're having. Like
Yeah, that's true.
I can only say this as a student from BAC, but I wish there was more to support students, when they're
Yeah,
going through this kind and they're struggling to keep up with their work. I wish there was more outlets available for us.
yeah, that's true.
I think Taylor has like Taylor's one of my friends who is studying law in Taylor's. They have like student counselors for these kind of things when they're feeling
Oh
depressed or
yeah,
they're going
yes.
through.
They
Oh,
have
that's
a
good.
yes, they have a
That's very
counseling
good.
center.
I find that
Ah,
super amazing.
Yeah. Oh wow.
That's very
Elaine,
helpful.
that's cool.
yeah.
Consultation. You
It's
don't have
like
to
that
pay for it.
PRS post. Like, do you guys have Bimbing Rakan Sebaya in your high school last time?
Oh,
Yeah,
Oh,
Do we
wait.
have it? I
do
used to
I?
be one of them.
me too.
I can't say for sure that I actually went to someone in PRS to talk about issues.
Yeah,
Same.
Yeah,
yeah.
it's
But
that
again,
there.
that comes to the actual like problem here. It's like no matter what, like we have these things in place, but the stigma that arises, especially in this conservative Asian like environment, like it makes us not want to go there because we don't want to be stigmatized. We don't want to have people thinking like, oh, that guy has problems. I feel like that's prevalent in the Asian community.
Yeah. Anything really, anything that makes you feel gloomy or down, or when you're having something, it's just really best to talk it out with someone. At least if you yourself don't know what's best for you to help yourself with.
Mhm.
Do I have to be from Taylor's to call the student counselor? Well,
Yeah, you do.
it's free, right?
I
Elaine,
wish I was from
It's included
Taylor's.
in the fees.
The
No,
first
just
question
kidding.
they ask, like, are you from
Just
Well,
Taylor's?
kidding.
you can always give them a call and say, "Oh, I'm sorry, I'm from another university,
Yeah.
but I would just like to talk about a problem that I have."
Brenda, do you think law school is depressing?
Well, in my opinion, I do agree with what everyone has said. It can be depressing, but personally for me, even though it has been tough and there were really anxious and exhausting moments here and there, with the endless lectures, assignments, and tutorials that we have to endure each semester, personally for me, it was very rewarding. I actually enjoyed the journey. And yeah, even though I found it tough, I tried not to let my spirit die so quickly. Like when I feel burnt out, I would just de-stress. I would just take breaks. I would just recharge, and then I would just talk with my friends over how we're always dying each semester, but then we will resurrect every time. Yeah, I would always do that. So yeah, just to de-stress, like that's how I take breaks. Or sometimes I would just sleep, or I would just walk around or listen to music. Because I think before I entered law school, throughout my high school life, I was always that kind of person who would go hard at studying. I will always do my best in exams and assessments. And then once I start studying, I don't stop. To the point where sometimes when my family members ask me, "Oh, it's time for dinner, it's time for lunch," I'll say, "Oh, but I'm studying now. Please don't disturb me." Like I don't really stop. But then that kind of mindset has changed after I entered law school. Like when I feel really really burnt out, when I feel that I couldn't take it anymore, I would just de-stress. I would just really take that step to step back.
A good balance, actually. I think that really helps.
So the final verdict: yes, we do think law school is depressing. There, you guys have state the ways to overcome this kind of depression, right? Do you guys have anything to add on?
Take your breaks always. You can study, but make sure to treat yourself a little. Like after every exam or a deadline, once you're done with it, treat yourself. Go to that cinema. Get that dessert you wanted so bad.
Yeah,
Make sure to do all those
deserve it.
little things. Yeah, you deserve it.
Yeah. And like to add on to that, like I feel like the one thing that has kept me going is this fact, like I'm in my bar course now, and like I went through the law degree, and we all went through high school, college, A levels, or whatever, right? I mean, there was a point of time we thought those things were impossible. Like there was a point of time during SPM or PMR or way before, like you're thinking, how do I get through this? Like I can never get through this, but you did. Like you always end up going through it, and it's no different now. You are stronger than you think you are. So that's one thing I'd like to impart.
Yeah.
Depression in terms of law school, right? It can also stem from career mismatch. Like
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
Oh
definitely.
yeah.
from high school, you can just think like, okay, I want to be a lawyer, right? Because you maybe at that time, some people, not everyone, they think like, oh, they don't have this ambition, they don't have this ideal job they want to be, but like with the pressure of coming from Asian households, they always want you to do the big three, like doctor, lawyer, or
Lawyer and
engineer,
engineer. Yes.
the big
It's
three.
always those three.
professionals.
Yes.
So like, I think in a sense you can kind of have this career mismatch, and it can cause you to feel depressed doing something that you don't like every day, studying something you don't like
Yeah.
every day.
Yeah. It's like law is such a broad course. Like a lot of people take it not to become lawyers. Like a lot of them actually do, because it's a broad course. So like I can understand why a lot of people would feel, unmotivated.
Not to like shove toxic positivity down anyone's throat, because that doesn't help either. But it is true, like you guys have mentioned, sometimes you really have to take time for yourself, and also sometimes you can try to see things differently and change your mindset, and just have a different outlook on things. And
Yeah.
well, like Geoffrey mentioned in the beginning, like lawyers develop alcohol problems, right, at some point. So guys, it's just the beginning.
I
Just no, but okay, on a more serious note, it's I guess it's really important to remember, like, everyone's pace is different. You can always slow down and take a break anytime you feel like it, because any progress, however small, is still progress. You're still moving forward, so it's okay, to take any breaks anytime you need them.
Definitely. It's all right to feel down as well, like take your
Yeah.
time. So it's an ongoing process. I mean, right now we have the time.
Feel free to agree with me on this, but has anyone experienced burnout over the past, maybe even this year, during our degrees and during our bar
Yes.
courses?
Yes.
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 Definitely yes.
Everyone? Yes.
100%.
Yeah,
mean, like,
definitely.
it's
Yeah.
crazy. Like in high school, studying for SPM, you're like, okay, you don't even know what burnout is until you really like get into your degree. Even like going
Yeah.
through the first year, I've experienced
Oh
burnout
yeah.
already.
Trying to get your degree or being in university itself, you're in such a brand new environment, new people, everything is new. I think it was such a shock when I came out. The SP, like most of us, I think, did our SPM. The SPM felt, I don't know, I think I had a culture shock when I took my A levels for the first time. Oh my
Oh,
gosh,
same. Yes.
right?
Same here.
Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
wow. I will even say that I think I almost failed the my law exam for sure. I think contract law was just not it. We do not go together.
Oh yeah, I do not really like contract law too.
Wow.
I don't fancy it.
It's land and property law for me, for sure.
Track.
The burnout is real, but sometimes it's not just your studies. I would say that even socializing when you're in university, I don't know, being in mooting or any sort of society can burn you out as well. I don't know. I don't know if you guys have that sort of burnout as well, though. Like trying to keep up with your studies and then alongside with trying to maintain all these new relationships you have.
Yeah, maintain that social life and all. It's quite
Mm.
hard.
Social burnouts are a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
for sure.
Do away with 2 weeks with not talking to anybody just because I need my shutdown.
With the lockdown and everything, I think most of us are pretty recharged right now. Our
Yeah,
social
for
batteries.
I feel like when we get out, like it's gonna be a different problem in itself. Like, like
I
now
think we will
talking
have
to
to like
somebody,
really
readjust.
readjust ourselves again.
Yeah.
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 It's like waking up, like, oh, how do I live in this new world?
Yeah.
How do I say hello to that?
Yeah.
How do I say
Yeah.
hello to
Yeah.
I
How do I
can't
have
see
a
his
normal
mouth anymore.
conversation with the mamak guy?
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like on a lighter note, I would guess that most of the people in this generation would really like, at least we understand the concept of burnouts, and we also know the concept of self-love, and I think that's a perk coming from like this pandemic and all that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can say
Yeah.
that I've
Mm.
been so fortunate, that my parents are kind of like financially stable for me to actually kind of enjoy my pandemic in a way. I've got like
Mm.
I don't know if you guys get what I mean, that I
Yeah.
can do my work with a roof under my head with the AC
Yeah.
on
Totally.
without
Yeah.
having to worry about anything else.
Yeah. And there are
Mm.
people who are
Yeah.
like, literally struggling. And it's hard not to feel like, okay, when I feel sad, it's hard to not like think about, oh, but some people have it worse.
Okay, so now to one of our special segments, trivia, where I'll be asking
Okay.
questions regarding the topic discussed on this episode.
Ooh.
There'll be a special
Ooh.
gift given to the winner at the end.
Okay.
Wow.
Is it a
It's
comic
special. I
book?
can't really tell you guys.
Oh,
Okay, so, all right. So the first,
Okay.
complete the sentence. Most Asian households are.
Conservative.
Conservative.
Yes.
Oh my god.
I heard Dylan first.
Yay.
All right,
Oh
Dylan's
man.
in the lead.
It's okay.
Okay, so next question. Kids in are starving to death, and you're here
Africa.
worrying about
Oh,
being sad.
sorry. Africa.
Hey, that's so stereotyped.
Oh my god.
Was that Elaine?
Yeah.
All right. So
She's
okay,
waiting
third
to say
question.
that.
Third question. What university has student counselors?
University.
Who said that first?
God.
That was me, Brenda.
Oh,
Brenda.
Brenda. All right.
Yeah.
Okay, it's okay. You guys are pretty evenly matched here. There are two more questions.
an egg.
The fourth question. 70% of lawyers develop what problems at some point of their lifetime?
Alcoholic problems.
Hey.
Dylan's in the lead.
I can
Okay,
relate.
the last and final question. What was my random fact?
Comic books. You like comic books? Yeah.
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 All right, so okay. So the winners are Dylan and Elaine.
Woo!
Yay!
Yay!
You guys won. Okay, the special gift for this trivia segment is bragging rights.
Bragging rights.
I thought I was gonna get a comic book.
No, bragging rights on the first episode of Alibi, the podcast, is it's worth something. Okay, so moving on to another segment, which is one of my personal favorites. On this segment of Alibi Suggests, we're gonna be suggesting our favorite food spots in Sabah and what they're known for, as well as some movies to keep us entertained during this pandemic. So, Dylan, do you want to go first?
Okay. Let me think. Food spots, huh? There's this place in I think Market 88. I like to go there because fun fact, I love Kanomen, and I think I said that already. But I love Sandakan, like the Sandakan one, and there's the Sandakan Kopitiam in Market 88. Like really nice place. Like they have good kanomi, and I also really like to go to the B side. Like I feel like it's a nice place to chill. I mean, I really miss that place. I would go there to study sometimes and before the pandemic. But yeah, those two are really good.
I personally love their soft shell pasta,
Yeah,
soft shell
Yeah.
crab
crab
pasta.
pasta. That is so good. Yeah, I really miss. Now it's just home food and stuff. But yeah, those places are really good.
Okay, so movie. What is the movie of
Ooh,
your suggestion?
this is hard. I'm a big movie buff. But I would say like, that one movie that stuck with me is definitely Interstellar. Like
Make him stay,
Interstellar such a nice movie, and like I mean you guys know Interstellar, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
Yes.
Like wow, that ending and stuff. Anything Christopher Nolan is it for me lah. And also Marvel movies. Geoff, me and you we were talking about Marvel movies. I really like Captain America, The Winter Soldier. I think yeah. That's a really nice movie as well. Those two movies from me.
All movies from Marvel I feel are pretty nice movies. And
Yeah,
yeah,
for sure.
everyone should watch, Marvel movies. Get your comics from me. All right.
Promo here.
So moving on to Elaine, what are your suggestions?
Okay. For favorite food spots, like the first place I usually think of is that one place in Tanjung Aru. Do you know Wajon?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
I love
yes,
their
that
konramen
shop.
so much. Yeah.
Oh
I
yeah, their
love that
konramen is
place
so
so
good.
much. Yeah.
Oh, they have nice fried chicken also.
My friends and
Oh,
I,
yes.
we love to go there to eat breakfast together. Those
Yeah.
sorts of good times. Yeah. So I always crave their noodles. It's like
Wow.
guilty pleasure.
As a Lasalian, like me and Joff, like that place is the OG place for Lasalians to like go out to eat in Tanjung Aru.
Yep. Okay, so what about movies, Elaine? What movie do you
Oh,
suggest?
movie. Well, okay. I'm not the kind to, rewatch movies a lot, but one movie that I've rewatched many times and I really, really like is Inception. I also really like Christopher Nolan movies, and this is one movie that I've rewatched multiple times and I can never get tired of it. So I would highly recommend.
Copy.
Not
Alright.
copy.
I think the Inception was inspired by Paprika.
What?
Paprika, it's a movie. It's like an
Oh,
Yeah.
I was thinking like
Paprika. Yeah.
not the powder, not the seasoning, y'all.
I was suddenly thinking of that like just small tub
Yeah.
like of
I was like,
paprika.
wow. From a paprika to Inception, like wow.
Makes sense.
Okay, so Natalie, what about you?
For me, it's actually Lido Square. I think I've said this before, but I really like the stall that sells seafood. But I really miss
Ah.
Lido Square. Either that or I really miss Bakute having to sit in the shop. Do you guys know that shop
Oof.
downtown in KK?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Oh
Gaya Street
yes,
there.
I ate there like every weekend at one
Yeah.
point. It's just so good.
Everybody loves
Yeah.
there.
I can't remember the name, but this bakute store specifically, I really love to go there and have their bakute. I wish I could again, like not just tapao their bakute, but actually eat there.
There's like two there, right? Like I
Ah,
think.
yes, it's always been like there's always some sort of rivalry. My best friend
Yeah.
likes the one on the right. I like the one on the left. I don't know. Mine is the one next to some hotel. Oh, I forgot.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's been a long time.
I mean, like, it's having bakute in KK is like, it's really, it's a whole package. It's not just the bakute, it's also like the atmosphere, the smell.
Definitely.
Yeah.
You know,
The
I I don't know. I think it's the yelling in the restaurant that makes it so nostalgic.
yeah,
Oh,
and the
Oh
Lebanon!
yes.
Then you're just like, yeah.
I go all out on the garlic, man.
Separuh
Oh,
gemuk,
Oh
separuh
yes, the
gemuk.
garlic. The garlic and the sauce. Yes.
Oh, okay. Movie.
mm, I'd say I really love period dramas. So I
Ooh,
like
yes.
watching Pride and Prejudice. I could watch it, and it's the one
Oh,
with
that's
Keira Knightley.
one of the best. Pride and
Ah,
Prejudice.
I could watch it like every time I'm down, I watch it. Every time I'm crying for no reason, I go back to Pride and Prejudice. Yeah, and but I think the one you guys like everyone should watch is those who haven't is the Godfather trilogy.
ah,
Love The Godfather.
Ah, so good. I really liked the second one.
yeah.
Oh my god. When I'm not gonna spoil it, but no, you know what? I'm gonna keep it to myself. I'm not gonna spoil it. But it's just really yeah,
They have
so
a
the
really nice theme song.
what? Oh my God, I can't remember.
Ah,
But yeah, it's really good. So Pride and Prejudice and the Godfather trilogy.
very different from each other.
Okay, moving on to Brenda. What are your suggestions?
Okay, so I have several food spots actually. So the first one is the Sangyupmian shop in Damai. And then the second one is Yifeng Laksa. The third one is the Bakute shop in downtown KK, like what Natalie said. And then the other one is the New Chap dish in Apiwon. And then the
Oh,
last
okay.
and then the last one is this one corner spot in Fosang area. I can't remember the name,
Oh,
but
is it the one
I
with the
frequently eat
porridge?
there. Oh yeah,
The
with
bubur
the
one?
porridge. Yeah,
Yeah, that's really
over
nice.
there. Yeah, that one spot in Fosang area. That one's the best lah. I always go there frequently to eat dinner if I do eat out.
Oh.
Yeah,
Okay.
so these food spots are like some of my favorites.
Okay, so what about movies?
Okay, for movies, I would recommend Studio Ghibli. Any Studio Ghibli
Yes.
movie is the best.
Yes.
You can watch it.
Yes, we
Yes.
can agree.
Recommend that. Rewatch it all over and over. It doesn't. You won't get tired of it. And then another one would be, actually, I recently found out this movie that's based on an anime manga. I don't know if any of you know it, but it's called Rurouni Kenshin.
Samurai X, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, my
the
mom
live
watches
action
that, by
movies.
the way.
Oh really?
Yeah. I was like, I went downstairs. I was like, wait, what are you watching? Rurouni Kenshi. And I'm like, wow.
No, like they have the live action movies up on Netflix. Like you can watch it on Netflix already. Yeah.
Okay, so I have suggestions. So regarding the food, I don't know if you guys have tried, but there's this new restaurant it's near Taman Dixon. It's called Lok Tien. I think it's pretty good. They have like dim sum and they have like yeah, I think everything there is really not bad. I personally go for like the fried rice and anything dim sum there. So for movie recommendations, I would suggest, I don't know if you guys watched the movie Submarine.
No.
It's like a coming of
Sounds so
age movie.
familiar.
Yeah,
It
sounds familiar.
it's on YouTube. You guys can watch it on YouTube. The full movie's on YouTube. I don't know why, but it was released in 2010. It's really about
Oh, that's quite a long time ago.
adolescence and coming to age, and I love the soundtrack there. So you guys can, just search Submarine 2010 on YouTube, and you guys will find it. Okay, so well, that's all the time we have, folks. Thank you for listening to Alibi, the podcast. We hope you enjoyed our very first episode, and we look forward to talking about more relatable Sabahan law student topics. I'm your host, Joffrey. Special thanks to our guests on this episode. Subscribe to us to stay updated on all our latest content. See you in the next episode. Peace.
A little late. I apologize that you had to wait. It totally slipped my mind. I lost all my sense of time. So buy me that drink and just let me think, and I'll tell you the reasons why.